pollution now kills 8.1 million annually, world's health risk.
Acute hammer surges again, now affecting 295 million worldwide.
Digital abuse against women and girls spikes in AI-driven harassment.
UNICEF condemns ongoing killing of Palestinian children in Gaza.
1 billion ghost projects. Scandal exposes massive illegal logging in Southeast Asia.
Meet giant GPS fine again for brainwashing linked to Amazon deforestation.
Study tropical deforestation causes thousands of heat-related deaths.
WEF warns Gen Z faces rising job pressures as AI adoption accelerates.
Protesters urge Macron to restore global fund aid, citing HIV, TB, malaria risks.
Good day everyone, and today I am Aiza Sunico Alenia bringing you the news updates. Next.
And I am Jeff Obrosas from Northwest Summer State University. Next.
And now we are here at Northwest Summer State University bringing you the news latest updates. Today, Philippines, the WMO has officially confirmed 2024 as the hottest year on record and for the first time has issued red alert. For the state of global climate, the message is clear. The climate crisis isn't just accelerating, it's intensifying the most extreme weather events we've ever seen.
That's right, Aizel. This is a significant moment that demands attention. The WMO's report details how rising temperatures are driving unprecedented changes, from devastating heat waves and floods to rapid sea level rise that threatens coastal communities worldwide. For more on the severity of this crisis, let's go live to our global climate correspondent, Leia.
Jeff, Isaac, the WMO's red alert is essentially the highest level of warning. The data is irrefutable. Every major climate indicator is flashing red. We've seen marine heat waves severely impact ocean ecosystems and melting glaciers contributing significantly to the rate of sea level rise, which is hitting new records. The report emphasizes that the primary driver remains the record concentration of heat-trapping greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. This isn't a future problem. It is a current and escalating global emergency. And the extreme weather we've witnessed this year is the drought, the wildfires, the flooding. Is a direct consequence of this unprecedented heating. Back to you.
A stark warning indeed, Leia. The WMO is urging governments to take immediate, drastic action to transition away from fossil fuels and build resilience against the incapable impacts already locked in.
Chef to a silent killer that is impacting human health on a massive scale, a new global reports confirm that air pollution is now the second leading risk factor for death worldwide, responsible for an estimated 8.1 million deaths globally that puts it ahead of risks like smoking and malnutrition.
An absolutely devastating figure that includes deaths from strokes, heart disease, lung cancer, and chronic respiratory disease. The sheer scale of this public health disaster is staggering. Let's bring in our health reporter, Nesta Malagkad, to explain primary sources of this deadly pollution.
Isel Jeff, the two main culprits are ambient particulate matter, PM2.5, and household air pollution. PM2.5 define toxic particles from traffic, industry, and power generation is the most dangerous as these particles are small enough to penetrate deep into the lungs and enter the bloodstream. Household pollution, primarily from burning solid fuels like wood or coal for cooking indoors, is a major killer, especially in low and middle income regions. The report is a wake-up call that the fight for clean air is an urgent, global necessity to save millions of lives. The health loss from diseases like COPD and preterm birth are disproportionately high in regions like South Asia and Africa. Back to you.
Honest, the cost of inaction clearly is measured in millions of lost lives every single year.
Now, to the deepening humanitarian crisis. The global food crisis worsening with a new report indicating that acute hunger has arisen for the sixth consecutive year. This dire situation is now impacting over 295 million people in fragile regions across the globe.
A quarter of a billion people facing acute hunger is an acceptable tragedy. These are often areas already destabilized by conflict, climate change, and economic shocks. For a closer look at the key drivers in the regions most affected, here is our development correspondent, Danica Douglas.
The grim reality is that nearly 300 million people are now in pastry crisis or higher on the food insecurity scale. Conflict remains the number one driver. We've seen regions like Sudan, Palestine, South Sudan, and Yemen identified as being at the highest risk of catastrophic hunger or famine. The World Food Programme is warning that despite having the tools to prevent famine, a lack of resources and political will is feeling those most in need. This is not just the numbers. It's about families resorting to desperate measures like skipping meals or stealing off their few remaining positions just to survive. The international community needs a rapid surge in humanitarian assistance and a focus on long-term resilience to break the 6 years cycle of escalating hunger. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Danica Douglas, for that essential report.
Our next report highlights a growing threat in the digital realm. Humanitarian and gender experts are sounding the alarm over the rising digital abuse of women and girls globally. This surge is being amplified by new technologies like artificial intelligence and weak online accountability.
This is a critical issue that threatens to silence women in public life. The warnings are clear. The rapid development of AI, which facilitates the creation of hyper-realistic deepfakes and automated harassment campaigns, is turning the internet into a hostile environment. We go now to our technology and law correspondent, Niza Kasalhay.
Jeff and Isaac, the rise of AI is providing perpetrators with powerful new tools for abuse, allowing for highly targeted and realistic attacks, such as gender disinformation and the creation of non-consensual deepfake imagery. UN Women reports that what begins online often leads to real-life consequences, including fear, psychological harm, and even physical abuse. Crucially, the legal framework is falling to keep up. An estimated 1.8 billion women and girls still lack inadequate legal protection from technology-facilitated abuse, like cyber harassment. Experts are urging governments to enact and enforce stronger laws that specifically addresses AI-driven digital violence and hold tech companies accountable. I am Niza Kasalhay, bringing you insightful news in making a more insightful Philippines. Back to you.
A sobering reminder that progress in technology must be matched by progress in protection. Thank you, Neza.
The tragic cause of conflict in the Middle East remains our focus. A devastating new UNISCF report condemns the continued killing of Palestinian children in Gaza. Despite recent ceasefire announcements meant to pause hostilities, the report details an acceptable loss of life even during periods of supposed calm.
Heartbreaking situation for any child to be killed is a tragedy, but the fact that this is reportedly happening even during a ceasefire is a profound failure of protection. We could leave to our international affairs correspondent Faith Ongpok for the latest on this crucial report.
Jeff, the UNICEF spokesperson confirmed that at least 67 children have been killed in a conflict-related incidents since the recent pause of hostilities was agreed upon, amounting to an average of 2 children a day. This includes the victim of airstrikes and other violent incidents. The agency stressed that every children who have been killed is an irreplaceable loss and an affront to humanity. Beyond the immediate threat to life, Gaza's health system is collapsing, leaving thousands of children, including those with severe burns, spinal injuries, and other critical medical conditions, without the urgent care they need. UNICEF is calling for the immediate, safe, and unimpeded passage for humanitarian relief, and most urgently, a full, sustained ceasefire to protect the remaining children. Back to the studio.
We sincerely hope the calls for threatened protection are heeded. Thank you, Sarah.
Next, an explosive corruption scandal rocking Southeast Asia. An investigation has exposed a massive criminal network linking powerful timber barons and illegal logging to a staggering $1 billion in ghost flood control infrastructure.
Ghost projects means infrastructures that was funded but never actually built. This is a double crime. Marcus environmental destruction coupled with brazen theft of public funds meant for essential protection. We go to our investigator, reporter Ruth Aurelia, for the details on this systematic corruption.
Jeff and Hazel, this scandal exposes a deeply entrenched system of corruption. The investigation alleged that illegal logging, which provide vast illicit wealth for powerful timber barons, is intertwined with the government officials who facilitate the crimes and then launder the money through non-existing public works. The Ghost Project flood control infrastructure were supposed to protect vulnerable communities. Instead, the funds were reportedly stolen, leaving regions that have been stripped bare by illegal logging even more susceptible to deadly flooding and landslide. This collusion between private grant and public office has direct, devastating impacts on the lives and safety of local communities. Anti-corruption groups are now demanding a full accounting and prosecution of high-level officials involved. Back to you.
Shocking abuse of power and public trust. Thank you, Rudy.
Ko? Over sa choco.
Sa akin, over sa choco ang cake. Pati feeling. Fudge din ba na bar mo? Fudge bar. Over sa choco.
Over sa sarap. Fudgy ko yan!
To focus corporate responsibility or lack thereof, the world's largest meat company's GBS has been fined again, accused of a $1 million greenwashing settlement to deliberately hide its ongoing ties to Amazon deforestation.
Greenwashing is when a company presents a misleadingly environmentally friendly public image. In this case, the company's public-facing net zero goals stand in stark contrast to its aligned supply chain practices. Our business correspondent, Eliza Bocabo, has the story.
Legal action brought by the UN Attorney General alleges that GPS climate and deforestation claims were
tracing total branches involved in legal engineering. The settlement requires the GPS to present its net zero emissions goal as goal rather than a commitment, and to hire an independent expert to vet future climate claims. Critiques are defined as minor compared to the company's revenue, but the case signal is a new level of scrutiny for the entire food industry. Environmental groups are emphasizing that GPS currently tracing systems fail to track indirect suppliers, which is another loophole allowing illegally sourced beef to enter global market. Appears to the public tolerance to cooperate, greenwashing is rapidly running out. Thank you.
Next report brings together two major crises, climate change and environmental destruction. A disturbing new study reveals that tropical deforestation is directly linked to thousands of heat-related fatalities by drastically increasing regional temperatures and deforested areas.
A critical new piece of data shows the immediate political impact of forest loss on human health. Forests are nature's air conditioners, and when they are destroyed, the local climate is fundamentally altered. We go back to our climate correspondent, Leah Kaimpoy.
ISO Jeff. The study is a stark warning for communities near the world's major tropical forests in Africa, Asia, and the Americas. So by assessing the impacts of local warming caused by deforestation, researchers estimated that forest loss is associated with around 20,000 heat-related deaths per year across the tropics. The mechanism is simple but deadly. Trees provide shade and release moisture through evapotranspiration, which cools the air. When forests are cut down, the land absorbs more heat and the temperatures spike. The mortality rates are highest in Southeast Asia, and the findings highlight that protecting tropical forests is not just an environmental issue. It is a life-saving public health imperative that could prevent a substantial portion of all climate-related heat deaths. Reporting, Leah Kaingkoy, back to you.
An incredibly important connection to make. Thank you, Leah.
Use. A new report from the World Economic Forum, or WEF, is warning of rising pressure on the Gen Z labor market. The accelerating pace of AI adoption and automation is leading to figure competition for entry-level roles worldwide.
This is significant concern for millions of young people just starting their careers. Companies are choosing AI-driven automation over new hires, which is eliminating the very junior positions that Gen Z needs to gain experience. Here is to break down the WEF's finding is our business correspondent, Gerald Maldubuco.
Jeff and Isa, the WEF report is painting a challenging picture. Business leaders survey confirmed that AI is already reducing headcount, with 250 reporting that junior-level roles have been cut. The issue isn't just job loss or a crisis of opportunity. Entry-level posting have fallen sharply as AI takes over routine administrative tasks. This lack of initial experience makes it harder for the Gen Z to secure the foundational skills needed for more advanced jobs. Furthermore, the narrative of AI creating new jobs is often focused on high-skilled roles, leaving a skill gap and fueling frustration among young workers globally, especially in regions like Asia and Africa, where youth unemployment is already severely high. The warning is that governments and education system must urgently adapt to prevent a generation from being left behind.
A major challenge for the workforce of nature. Thank you, reporter.
Hand washing is a first line of defense against germs. Pero hindi lahat ng sabon pareho. Hand washing with Safeguard helps provide long-lasting protection against germs. Wash hands properly. Stay safe. Safeguard.
Finally, and now, we turn to a protest action with life or death implications. activists are holding an emergency rally outside the French embassy, demanding that President Emmanuel Macron reverse proposed cuts to his country's pledge to the Global Fund to fight HIV, TB, and malaria.
Protesters warn any reduction to the Global Fund, which is a key source of life-saving prevention and treatment programs, will cause a double crisis. In the fight against these three deadly pandemics, our international affairs correspondent Nisa Casalhay is covering the protest.
Isel and Jeff, the mood here is one of the desperate urgency. France is the Global Fund's second largest donor, and the news that President Macron is reportedly considering a cut to their 1.6 billion pledge has triggered outrage among AIDS and public health advocates. They argued that this cut comes at a moment when global health funding is already under severe pressure. Activists emphasize that even a small reduction will directly translate into a devastating shortfall in antiretroviral treatments, bed nets, and diagnostic tools, potentially leading to millions of unnecessary deaths and dangerous resurgence of these diseases. And the people's message to President Macron is funding cuts here. President Macron must not cut €1 from these life-saving programs. The world is watching to see if France will maintain its commitment to global health solidarity. I am Nisa Casalhay, bringing you an insightful news, making a more insightful Philippines. Back to you.
A very important protest action. Thank you, Neza.
That wraps up today's broadcast. Thank you for staying informed with Inside PH. I am Isel Alenio.
And I'm Jeff Brosses. Join us again next time for more stories that matter. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay informed. Good day.